Hi guys, so it is Saturday the 11th of January at 7:41, and just want to let you guys know that I've had the last week was filled with up and downs. I'm on my way to gym now, so I'm not gonna be long. For those of you who know me, you know my journey, you know my story. For those of you who don't, my name is Lucia, and I am a self-proclaimed mental health advocate, a trauma abuse survivor, childhood trauma survivor, near-death survivor. I had a brain aneurysm. I don't know what's going on with me on this morning, but okay. None of my videos are scripted. None of them are they're all made up on the spot, very improv. So I survived a brain aneurysm in 2021. I had a brain bleed, and I'm a walking talking miracle, so I'm pretty chuffed with myself for that. But I also suffered extreme burnout, exhaustion, betrayal from business partners to relationships. I'm talking, marriages, life partners, business partners, friends, you name it. I've been through it, and there was a lot of fracture and brokenness in my life, and I went for therapy. I was on antidepressants for a very long time, but I also didn't understand the one thing is that there's something called attachment theory, which was something that I researched quite extensively before understanding how deeply my childhood trauma affected who I was as an adult today. And I'm on a journey of discovery. I'm on a journey of figuring myself out, figuring out life, figuring out really just everything. And what I discovered was ketamine. And ketamine is a drug which is an off-label antidepressant, but it is actually an anesthetic. When administered by a licensed clinician, which is basically a set of 6 ketamine infusions via IV, as in a drip. It has the superpower of helping your brain become neuroplastic. So what it's done for me is it's taken my brain from a hard ball of clay. Well, it's not that it's done for me, it's done for others as well. But it's taken my brain, this hard ball of clay, and it has made it a moldable version of clay. So picture clay that's been set out to dry in the sun, and picture after ketamine infusions, and how your brain is now a brand new, call it moldable version of clay. So think about that phrase, putty in your hands. Your brain becomes putty in your hands. And I'm in the integration phase right now, where I am learning more and more about in just really reflection, through journaling, through this channel, through talking about what I've been feeling. And I know I had a very deep week this week, because if you guys know anything about healing, you know anything about trauma and grieving through trauma, It is not easy. It is one of the hardest things that you'll ever have to do. It means facing all of your fears. It means facing all of your problems. It means facing all of your deepest trauma, your deepest wounds, looking at your own old cycles of self-sabotage. Attachment theory, there are 4 types of attachment styles, which is secure attachment, and then you've got 3 traumatized attachment styles, which is fearful avoidant, which is one of the least common attachment patterns. Then you've got anxious preoccupied, which is where I fell into, and then you've got dismissive avoidant. Now, you can go online and actually take an attachment theory test for yourself and see where you fall in the attachment spectrum, for you to understand why you act the way you act. Because I couldn't figure out why I acted the way I acted. But what I realized is I acted the way I acted because I was actually triggered, and it all stemmed from my childhood trauma and what happened to me as a young child, and in fact a baby. I also came to find out later in life that I was molested when I was really little. I think, 3-4 years old, definitely not 5, but around 3-4 years old. And I remember it in snippets, but my brain had dissociated from that. I was not, I don't recall, but I was not penetrated, but I was fondled by an uncle of mine. I grew up being the eldest of 4 kids, and I had an abusive father. My mom exited that relationship when I was about 5 years old. She left me to stay with her family, her mom's family, and I finished the 1st grade with my dad. So that was also the first time I was abandoned. And then she took me away from my dad, and my dad abandoned me, and my mom then remarried, and I was then raised by a stepfather who really changed my life in terms of where I come from as a colored female growing up in South Africa. But in that, he was abusive in every sense of the word except for sexually. But my mom, and I understand attachment now, so I hold no judgment towards my mom. I love my mom very much, and she didn't know better. She really thought that she was doing the best that she could at the time, but she kept abandoning her kids for my stepdad, and so she kept choosing men over her children, because that was the only way that she knew how to feel safe, and feeling safe meant having a man be there to rescue her. And I realized growing up that that was never me. I met a man, got married to a man, was always, I've been a recruiter for 20 years, so I was always the breadwinner. I always made more money than my partners. And I exited relationships because I was independent. I was self-sufficient. I didn't realize that I was a people pleaser for a very, very long time. I always thought I was just the life of the party, and I was always just a good person. But I didn't realize that my triggers resulted in me becoming very hypervigilant, over functioning, doing, cleaning, cooking, buying. It came out, my my triggers and how I would suppress those triggers and deal with those triggers would be by, well, let's call it activating a trigger, would be by various things. Some people shut the world off. Some people go silent. Some people ignore you. Some people run away and go on a trip somewhere. Some people reach out and vent, and some people go online shopping. Some people gamble. Some people drink. And once you understand attachment theory, you understand your love languages. You dig up your past, your childhood, your trauma, you'll soon come to realize how important it is to tie in your childhood with who you are and how you show up as an adult, like today. But back to ketamine, and I need to get to gym now. But back to ketamine. So ketamine has enabled me to look at myself, step out of Lucia the adult, and Lucia the wounded child and traumatized child, and step out and look at Lucia, who's witnessed Lucia the traumatized child, and Lucia the adult. Because the Lucia post integration, post the ketamine, is a rather well put together Lucia, because there's a lot of reflection, introspection, unpacking, and looking back and going, wow, oh my word, I can't believe I did that for so long. I can't believe I allowed that for so long. You know, and I'm not perfect. There are things that I've done that are unsavory. I've hurt people. I've done stuff that I'm not proud of. And then I also realized what I've done in my life and what I'm not so proud of happened to be in moments where I was triggered, where I was looking for an outlet for my anxious, preoccupied attachment style that came out, you know. And I'm naturally the type of person who wants to form a bond, form a connection with someone. And that is why I love what I do so much, connecting with people, being a recruitment coach and working with individuals, humanizing talent, understanding your story and who you are as a human before I actually work with you. But yeah, I'm so excited to be sharing my story on YouTube. This will be my first video post my my ketamine infusions. I've taken a few videos, I don't know, maybe about 15 videos over the last 2 months, which I haven't yet uploaded. So I'm posting this video because I spoke of me being excited to starting my ketamine infusion journey in November 2025. And today, with it being the 11th of January 2026, I've had so many epiphanies and so many aha moments and so many, wow, what? And those are the moments that made me realize, wow, attachment theory, love languages, trauma bonding, all of this, generational trauma, all came into play in my life, and I'm watching it unfold. And I would stand up on a podium today and talk about how ketamine has changed my entire life in ways that I can't even explain. And I've got a friend, one of my best friends, and another best friend who has been, and another friend who's actually starting, because they've seen the difference in me. They've seen what it's done for me. Now, bearing in mind, ketamine is a drug that can easily be abused. However, used under medical supervision, licensed clinician, the results are astounding, okay? People have told me you are Lucia on steroids now, and I can see that. And don't get me wrong, because I'm still in the integration phase, there's still moments where I am unsure, and I'm still finding the old whispers of the old me, and am I good enough, am I strong enough? There's still that version of me, but I'm quietly noticing her, and I'm quietly going, I see you. You are a result of your childhood trauma, but you're not that little girl anymore. And again, this neuroplasticity window, the hard clay, the wet clay, I'm using this window to remold who I am. And I'm just making these videos because I want to be true to myself. I want to be authentic to the world, and I want to share this experience because I really do hope that through everything that I've been through, it helps someone out there one day. Anyway, I thought that this was going to be a short video, and it was too long, so I gotta go. Bye.